Hey guys, Ewan here with the Old School Labs, and after watching this Tampa Pro, the first pro show in this competitive season, I came up with a couple of ideas, a couple of questions for you and for myself as well. And the first one, of course, as you can see right here in this video, is can George Peterson actually win the 212 Mr. Olympia? Is he really that good of a 212 competitor? The short answer is gonna be yes, it's possible. But the long answer, though, is gonna be this entire video, obviously. So, first, the question is, who is the best 212 bodybuilder right now? Obviously, Flex Lewis moved up to the Open. Hari Chupan also, he's not doing the 212 anymore. The current 212 Mr. Olympia winner, or the last year's Mr. Olympia winner, I mean, he just won one time. Doesn't really mean that he's like a set-in-stone champion. He absolutely deserved it, don't get me wrong, but he still needs to defend his title at least once to show us that he is there and he's not moving that easily. He's a bit older guy, he's not young. And the younger guy that everybody is talking about, that everybody thought is going to win 2019 Mr. Olympia 212, the one who was second place behind Flex Lewis in 2018, is Derek Lansard. This guy is phenomenal. He looks absolutely amazing. Just take a look at him. He looks insane. He looks like an open Mr. Olympia winner, right? I mean, he looks super impressive. He's huge. And here, as you can see, he's comparing himself even to one of the best of all time in open bodybuilding, of course, Phil Heath. Of course, in the description he said, I'm not comparing myself. With Phil Heath, I just made this post for whatever reason. That's what everybody says when they compare themselves against somebody who is much better than them, who is much more accomplished. Like, they post a photo comparison, literally, and then they say this is not a comparison. So what the hell is it then? Anyways, that's not the topic. So here you can see that, in this photo, I mean, of course, it's not a great ratio. Phil is taller and bigger, but it looks just as impressive, pretty much. I mean, Derek has everything. He has everything. He has a super crazy-looking, impressive physique. So he's probably the biggest potential for somebody who's not gonna win like 1 year if he gets lucky, if the other guy is off. No, he is the kind of bodybuilder who, once he figures it out, he's gonna stay there for quite a long time. And I don't see George Peterson being able to achieve bigger success than Derek can. He looks absolutely crazy. But, again, the question of this video is, can George Peterson win 2020 Mr. Olympia in 212? And the answer is, once again, yes. Why is that? Because last year, in 2019, this guy, Kamal Gargni, was able to beat Derek. Even though Derek is a freak, he's super impressive, he was not conditioned. And Kamal, much smaller, was super peeled out of his mind. Just take a look at his conditioning. This is insane. This is super low body fat percent, and he's dry and he's full and he's the best version of himself. That's like his maximum potential. I don't think he can be any better than this. And I think this is gonna be his peak year. From this, I don't think he can improve. I think he can just, get worse with age. So can George do pretty much the same thing and beat Derek? Yeah, if he comes conditioned. George is known for bringing the conditioning pretty much every time. He is known for that consistency. But if you compare his conditioning, to Kamal's conditioning, you can see that George was not that conditioned, right? I mean, you don't see the striations on the glutes. You don't see that super thin skin on the lower abs, for example. You don't see the deep cuts everywhere. The back of George is phenomenal. It's better than Kamal's. From behind, George looks bigger. He looks much bigger. But it's not all about the development, obviously. Like last year, Derek was much bigger than Kamal, but he was not conditioned. And George, he is well conditioned, but he is not exactly that big. So if he wants to beat Derek, he needs to be super peeled. And also to beat Kamal, he also needs to be peeled. In some poses, Kamal looks bigger, but in the majority of them, I think George looks bigger. But Kamal would still beat him. 2019 version of Kamal would beat the Tampa Pro 2020 version of George Peterson. I think so. It's more conditioned. That's pretty much it. It's more conditioned. So if George figures it out to come, super sharp and full, he can take out both of these guys. It's a possibility. Now, we don't know how will he compare against them, but we can make a pretty good guess. I mean, we saw him on stage so many times. Like, it was a thing like with Hunter. Like, Hunter Labrada, he never competed against the pros, but everybody pretty much saw him, cracking the top 2 because, yeah, the photos are not 100% accurate, but they are pretty accurate. They're like, let's say 90% accurate, come on. I mean, let's be realistic. Let's not be like, photos can be super deceiving. They can't really be that deceiving. If you can see, you can see. I mean, we saw that with Hunter, and, it came true. He won the first pro show that he ever did. So I think we can make a pretty good guess that George will fare well against the other 212 guys. And I'm strictly talking about the top two best bodybuilders in 212, and that is Kamal currently and Derek. But if Kamal doesn't bring the same level of conditioning next year, I don't see him being in that top 2, top 3. He can fall out of top 10 if he comes off because he's not that big. His biggest strength is conditioning. There are other guys as well in 212 who are really good, but we're going to talk about the top 2 right now because that's what makes sense. Who knows what the hell are the other guys going to bring? We don't know that. So, in order to beat Derek, he needs to come conditioned. In order to beat Kamal, he needs to come super conditioned. So, there is a possibility. It would be amazing to see him win because it would be another huge leap. Somebody who is making a leap from Classic to 212 to winning his 212 debut and then winning the Mr. Olympia. That would be just amazing. Can we see that with Hunter? No, I don't think that can happen, of course, but with George, it's a possibility. Can George eventually move up to the Open? I mean, he's not a youngster, and if he didn't grow enough by this age, I don't think that's going to happen, really. He needs to be much, much bigger than this. His legs especially need to grow, and pretty much everything else. So I don't think he has the best genetic potential to be the Open bodybuilder. I don't really see that happening. Maybe if he took a couple of years off, but no. He's not on the level of Flex Lewis or freaking Hadi Chopin. I don't think that can just happen overnight. Maybe in 5 years, but for 5 years of super, super hard work. And I don't really see that potential in George. But winning the 212, yeah, it's a possibility. Maybe not too many years in a row, but 2020, if Derek fails again with conditioning, if he messes it up, then yeah, George can take him out. And if Kamal doesn't come at his perfect peak, which is, I don't know, how likely is it to come in perfect peak 2 years in a row? I don't know. If he messes it up too, George can win. But I do think he can take the top 3. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below in the comment section. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and please subscribe for more bodybuilding videos like this. All the best, guys, and keep it old school.